Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today I wanted to cover the last bit of things that you want to look for in the foundation set, but in particular I wanted to cover the Jumpstart foundations. So this set, that particular product has 27 different legendary creatures that you can get, not counting the reprints. So let me just pull. Yep, there we go. I just wanted to, throw these out there. So if you're looking, you know what you're going for. And eventually, when you decide you want to pick these up to build a deck around, you kind of got a video to come back to. As always, if you like this kind of content and you want to see more, always remember like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to share to your friends if this is the kind of thing you think they will enjoy. But without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into these brand new commanders into the Magic the Gathering game. So starting out with, and I'm using EDH Rec decks to date. So I'm going, from the greatest to the least. So starting out with Shroofus Sproutsire, and man, that is a tongue twister if you're from the South. For 2 and a green, this is a 1/1 legendary creature sapperling. I was about to say artifact for some reason. It has trample. Everybody look out. It's a 1/1 with trample. But whenever a sapperling you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green sapperling creature tokens. This is going... I can see why this is a very highly wanted, highly loved commander already, because it just... all it does is wants to make more. So I can see why this is number 1. Coming in at number 2, we have Slenza, the Spike Stampede for 4 and a green. This is a 5/5 legendary creature beast. Beast spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. And man, oh man, have we been needing a legendary beast commander. A commander for the beast creature type. And it is amazing. Each other beast you control enters the battlefield. Enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Oh, yay. Something that green already takes advantage of more than any other color. +1/+1 counters. Whenever it or another creature with power 4 greater enters, you may pay 1 in a red or green. When you do, Slenza fights target creature you don't control. So if you can find a way to, make tons of beasts and stack counters on him too, I would actually like... I think Defiler of Vigor, if I'm correct, would be great in this deck, because as soon as you start making bigger beasts or more beasts, you just start putting counters on everything. Mana doublers, mana damage doublers. This is just a deck that writes itself. Beast tribal all the way. Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder for 2 and a black. This is a 2/2 legendary creature vampire soldier with flying. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. It's a very important clause. Or artifact. Put a +1/+1 counter on Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. If the sacrifice permanent was a treasure, she gains lifelink until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So you can only activate that ability as a sorcery ability. Whenever they die, you may pay 1 in hybrid black or red. When you do, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Wow, so if you just do nothing but sack treasures, ugh. Yeah, that could be pretty bad. This has combo written all over it, because if you play... okay, say you have a few zombies in the deck. Well, I mean, hell, just say you have built this around a zombie combo. You can essentially just be like, all right, well, turn 4, Everest out on the battlefield. I have a, what's it called? A Pitiless Plunderer that I found a way to sneak out later. What's it called? A Gravecrawler and another zombie creature. Well, now you just make her huge. You can even sacrifice another creature to her for the extra treasure, and now she's like an infinity, and then you sacrifice her to something else. So then, yeah, that's a game-winning combo for you guys, free of charge. Ophelia, the Viper Whisper. This one has been getting a lot of running so far. I've seen like 3 different channels that have put her in the games that show some gameplay with her. So pretty awesome. For 1 and a black, this is a 1/3 legendary creature, Gorgon Assassin with Death Touch. Whenever she attacks, you may pay 1 and. I wonder what this deal with the 1 in hybrid colors is. I wonder if that was their theme that they went with. But to do, you may do the ability. If you do, create a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch. If are 4 and a black until end of turn, whenever 1 or more Gorgons and or snakes you control do combat damage to a player, that player loses half their life rounded up. Oh, this just screams. What is that 1 enchantment? Oh man, if they lose their life, whatever, however much life they lose that much. This is just like as soon as you're able to give all of your small creatures evasion, just swing in and pain reflection. I think that is what it is. It's the black reflection enchantment. But yeah, this is pretty dope. Gornog, the Red Reaper. This is definitely a Minotaur tribal commander that people have been dying for. For 2 and a red, this is a 2/3 Minotaur warrior with haste. Cowards cannot block warriors. Whenever 1 or more warriors you control attack a player, target creature that player controls becomes a coward. Can you just imagine making an Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, a coward? That's just funny as in its own. Attacking warriors you control get +X+O, where X is the number of cowards your opponents control. I can see Gornog going great with Morog, the creature that every time you make a land drop, you're able to take another combat step. So now you just keep making your opponent's creatures unable to block. This would be extremely effective when it's just like 1v1, especially on Arena. And it would be somewhat better just to be able to take out that one threat at the table, especially when their creatures are just like they just can't block. Rev Tithe Extractor. Man, that's kind of, say that kind of fast. For 3 and a black, this is a 3/3 legendary creature, Human Rogue. Whenever you attack, target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Wow. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control do combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So you make 1 treasure for all of your creatures are attacking. Unless they're attacking multiple players. Then look at the top card of that player's library, exile it face down. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. And it does have the clause. It does not have the clause you may spend mana as though it were any color. So you will need those treasures to be able to cast those spells. Unless you're using, like you're up against another mono black player or something. Which is still pretty cool though. This reminds me of Gonti a little bit. So, do what you gotta do. But, Death Touch, giving Death Touch out to random creatures can be deadly. Nerdive, Devious Diver, and this just reminds me of that one character from Zelda. Yeah, the merfolk people. I don't know exactly what they're called, and Legend of Zelda is not my thing. If you do know what they are called, let me know down in the comments below. I always like learning something new. But for 2 and a blue, this is a 2/2 Merfolk Rogue. Whenever it becomes tapped, target player mills cards equal to its power. So, if you could find a way to just dump lands onto the battlefield and strap what is the sword that puts power onto life? Dang it. I really feel like this would be great with a Spellslinger type deck and the equipment that gives your creature +X+O for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard. Man, I run it all the time. I can't think of it. Blackberry Reforged and the Spear of something. Something. Well, all it does is it instant sorceries in your graveyard. +X+O. Pretty much. And this would just be amazing because you could just do a tap theme And you can tap and untap, tap and untap, tap and untap. It'd just be so funny to do. Just mill one person out over and over again. But whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard or activate an ability of a card in your graveyard, draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on her. That is far from the least broken things you could do with her. Dionys Elvis Archdruid. For 3 and a green, this is a 3/3 Elf Druid. Of course, it's in the name. Elves you control have whenever this creature becomes tapped during your turn, untap it, put a +1/+1 counter on this. This is busted. Elves you control have tap to make mana, untap it, put a counter on it, do it again. This ability triggers only once each turn. So you tap your mana elf that can make the most mana, put a counter on it, and then tap it, untap it, then tap it again to cast your whole hand. Or Crater Hoof. I feel like this might be busted in like Legacy or whatever, format that elves are stupid good in, which is just about all of them at this point. Thrud, Mare of Destiny. We finally got a legendary Pegasus. For 2 and 2 white, this is a Pegasus, 2/4, flying and lifelink. Whenever you cast a Pegasus, unicorn, or horse creature spell, copy it. Other Pegasi, unicorns, and horses you control get +1/+1. So yeah, it is the horse adjacent creatures and horses commander deck. It seems pretty cool though. I mean, I like how you can make it's like a Reflections of Lijara on a body, pretty much. But if this had blue, you could do it twice. And if you did that, you could play 1,000. Yeah, this could just go crazy if you in the right deck. And just make horses galore. And I can almost see this being in the main in the My Little Pony decks for whoever has any of those. Fumalus, the Infestation for 3 and a black. This is a 2/2 flying Death Touch vampire insect. That is a 2/2. Whenever a player sacrifices a non-token creature, create a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. Whenever an insect, leech, slug, or worm you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain a life. That's for each of them too. This is good. This was good in like a vermin or a insect. Those kind of the insect, leech, and slug and worm thing. I don't remember if there's a lot of worms. I don't think they're pronounced. I think this may be a typo because we don't have a lot of worms, WORMs, but we do have a lot of worms, WURMs. Hold on, let me check on that because that's actually kind of important. Do we have any worms in black? Wow, there's actually 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we actually have like 6 black actual WORMs. Wow, you learn something new every day. Like I said, there's only 6, so don't get too excited. Leeches and insects are a whole lot, and maybe slugs. Slugs are pretty common. Catacomb slug from Dissension, if I believe correctly, or Gate Crash, one of those. But yeah, you could definitely find a way to just give all these creatures skulk and just swing in, and they just lose all the life. Oh. And forgive me, because I thought that the top of the mouth, the jaw, was its face. No, it's where the little red dots are on the bottom of it. That's its face. That's its mouth, right up underneath him. Yeah, art is confusing sometimes. Senet Jelly Drover for 3 in a blue. This is a 2/2 legendary creature, human wizard. I'm gonna have to stop saying legendary creature. These are all legendary creatures. When she enters or dies, create a 1/1 blue jellyfish creature token with flying. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1, so it's a flying anthem. And whenever she enters or dies, create a 1/1 blue jellyfish creature token with flying. I don't really think there's a way to like loop this to where it dies, comes back, dies, comes back. Be really funny to have this in a Under the Sea theme deck. Be pretty funny. Oh my god. Under the Sea reminds me of the SpongeBob Secret Lair coming out. Ugh. Moving on. General Kret, the Bolt Bringer. For 2 and a red, this is a 2/2 Goblin Soldier. Whenever one or more goblins you control attack, create a 1/1 Goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Whenever another creature you control enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's pretty cool. So you can just swing a goblin, make a goblin, and it deals a damage. It's almost like a raid bombardment, or the enchantment that the goblin decks use a lot whenever it comes to like the goblins attacking, because the most of them have like that 1 power, so it triggers it. Still pretty cool though. Plagon, Lord of the Beach. This is a Starfish Wizard for 2 and a blue, 0/3. When it enters, draw a card for each creature you control with toughness greater than its power. So you play white, blue, big stuff. For 1 white or blue, target creature you control assigns combat damage to its toughness rather than its power. Oh, so you play Charnex and Cherix, and you just swing with a 13/13, pretty much. It's like blue-white walls. This is not as good as a Rixmathese, but it's still a pretty cool art, I guess. I like the sea turtle. Takeo, the Patient Avalanche. For 3 and a blue, this is a turtle ninja. We have it. We have ninja turtles. This is not as good as I thought it was going to sound. This is a 4/5, and it enters tapped whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield. If it didn't die, scry 1 and put a counter on him. Whenever it attacks, you may pay a hybrid blue or black. Whenever you do, target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. So, a flicker type deck. This is the art is just killing me. I'm sorry, guys. This is not what I thought it was going to be, and this is definitely probably the weirdest art in the whole set. And then we move on to Ozox, the Chattering King. And this is probably one of my favorite ones, because it is for 3, 2 and a black, a 3/2 Skeleton Noble. This is another noble for the Noble Tribe. Noble Tribal decks, here we come. Ozox, the Chattering King, can't block, which is actually pretty right on theme for skeletons. Whenever it dies, create Jumbo Bones, a legendary 2/1 black skeleton creature token with this creature can't block, and when this creature leaves the battlefield, return target card named Ozox the Chattering King from your graveyard to your hand. So this effectively just gets around the commander tax. This is another one of those ones that gets around the commander tax, especially if you find that you like to sacrifice these things all the way back and forth. I'm sure there's a loop somewhere that you could do that with. So, what? Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, sack the Ozox to the Phyrexian Altar, sack the Jumbo Bones to the sacrifice Ozox to the Phyrexian, Jumbo Bones to the Ashnods, and now you can recast the Ozox, and then you just got an infinite loop going. That's like a weird 3-card combo if you want to do that way. But then, I mean, you can get infinite like death triggers and sacrifice triggers and all that good stuff. So there's another one on the house. Brigand, Soldier of Miletus. For 1 and a white, this is a 2/2 human soldier with vigilance, and it has heroic. This is going to be in the new heroic decks. It's low power, it's low cost enough, and it has vigilance. And whenever you cast a spell that targets Brigand, put a counter on it. It's already doing what it wants to do. Tap it, remove a counter from it to draw a card. You know, it's great in the later game. This is going to be a heroic all-star. And if only it was a common. Haruska Sweet Tooth. This is a 3 mana, 2 generic, and a green 3/3 bear. It says Winnie the Pooh. That's all it is. It's Winnie the Pooh. They attack, create a food token. It's Winnie the Pooh. When you gain life, you may pay Selesnya, green or white. When you do, target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. So this is like white green life gain. I'm sure you can have like find a way to like if you throw a Heliod in here, this just gets nutty. Uh if you're gonna play that, you might as well play like cards like all the Soul Sisters, all the cards that say whenever you gain life, you gain that much more life, so on and so on. But yeah, I could see this being a great life gain Selesnya commander. I don't feel like it beats Tristani though. I feel like it may, because whenever you gain life, you pay it and then it gets +X. So you could turn your little creature into a big beater. So yeah, I think this might have make this might give Tristani a run for their money. Ivora, Insatiable Air, and now we're getting into the more niche ones, the ones that people are just like shying away from because they don't seem that useful or they don't that great. But I'm sorry, a 2-mana 1/1 with trample just sounds like Voltron to me. And I love the art. It's so cool looking. For two for a generic and a red, this is a 1/1 vampire warrior with trample. When it enters or whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a blood token. Whenever you discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Ivora. Yep, this sounds exactly like a faithless looting, uh, all those types of effects. Commander that this just loves the impulse draw and the chaos of it. I can get behind this one. I like this one. Bismillah. Somebody put a pronunciation guide for this guy, this person, this name, because Malitin poet. I can get that part, but that first part is killing me. For 2 and a white, what is it with the 2 and the white? Why do they want all these commanders to be? Why do all these legendary creatures to be 2 generic in a color? Were they not trying? Well, I mean, I understand it's a lower power set. Okay, never mind. I'm done ranting. My rant just kind of dissolved on itself. What I don't get is why you get a 3-mana 1/1. A 2-mana 1/1, I can understand. 3 mana, you're kind of pushing it. Whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, so start packing those flash enchantments, create a 2/2 white nymph enchantment creature token. At the beginning of each combat, if you control 5 or more enchantments, it gets +4/+4 and gains lifelink until end of turn. That's pretty neat. I mean, you build a board, I guess. It's pretty neat. I mean, they're enchantments, so I mean, they can be hex-proofed. That's pretty cool. Anything that allows you to double your tokens. Anointed Procession would be amazing in this deck as long as it's not like your as long as it's like your first enchantment before he comes down, and then you just start making enchantments after that. So that's pretty cool. I can think of a whole bunch of good ones like Haunted Library that makes more tokens. It seems pretty good. Koala, a Johnny's Pride Mate. They could have done a little better on this art because that face is one that only a mother could love. I'm sorry. The rest of it's great, but that one art, that face kills me. But for 3 and a white, this is a 3/3 cat warrior. Whenever it attacks or other attacking creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of counters on Koala. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Koala. For 3 and white, you can gain a life. This is life gain deck and put some equipment on her and make all of your just there's the throne of the dragon. It's a Khan's block artifact. It is a equipment that gives creature defender, but you can tap it and it gives all your creatures that power of that creature, or +X/+X equal to that creature's power that's on the seat. That would be amazing with this. I mean, you could just give it, and then whenever no, it wouldn't work. But I mean, either way, you could just still stack up that that buff, and you could just throw it on whatever creature you think you could get through with. Or hear me out here. Or you put it on creatures with evasion, like Shadow or Skulk, or can't be blocked except by creatures with haste. Because then what you do is you just swing and they can't block it, and they just die forever. Still a pretty good card, though. It's a good Soul Sister, life gain type, creature. Cleon, Merry Champion. For 2 and a red, this is a 2/2 with double strike, human soldier, and it has heroic also, so it must be from the plane of Theros. Whenever you cast a spell that triggers Cleon, exile that targets Cleon, exile top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next turn. Now I'm starting to see why people aren't like really digging some of these. Like as soon as you get past Koala or like past Ozox, that's where they start going downhill because you need to target, and it just targeting spells just do so much and cost so much for you're giving up one card for two. You're trying to get more. You want to try and use spells that will cantrip you and keep you going. I just don't see this being that great of a card, to be fair. I kind of hate that too because it's got some great art. Brawlios, a Pharos band. Faris is band. I don't know how to pronounce that. What is that in between? Oh, it's a centaur. Okay, I thought it was like a jumping elf. For 3 and 2 green, this is a Star Scout Centaur Scout. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. So, big green mana deck. Here you go. Whenever it attacks, draw a card, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So it has its own pump effect, which is pretty wild. But you slap a Black Blade Reforge on this and just go to town. I feel like this would be a great Voltron type commander too. A lot of Voltron that, well, I mean, it is one of those staple type decks that, new players can get into. It's also very fun, especially when you're newer to Magic and you just want to play some Battle Cruiser and just swing your big things. Yeah. Pol Jamar Illusionist. And this one actually caught my eye because for 6 mana, 4 generic and 2 blue, this is a 4/5 human illusion wizard. We don't have a lot of human something wizards that are illusions. We don't have a lot of that's very, very few, far and in between. But it has flying, and whenever it enters, choose a creature type. Draw a card for each creature you control of that type. Doesn't matter if it's zombies, birds, spirits, whatever. This is a great include in all kinds of different decks, especially if you can find a way to go wide. You're playing specific tokens. If you're like playing the blue legendary that says whenever you cast a instant sorcery spell, you make a Drake. You make all oodles, canoodles, and toaster strudels of Drakes, and then you refill your hand whenever you finally find Pole. Or Paul. I felt like his name is Paul. We're going to call him Paul. Moving on to Satini, Speaker of Tanjiro. For 2 and a green, this is a 2/2, and I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the 3 mana 2/2s. Elf Scout, whenever it enters, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When it attacks, you may return a land you control to its owner's hand. When you do, put a plus counter on target creature. Yeah, landfall is very popular. It's a popular one. Popular thing for people to go for. A lot of decks lately have had sub-themes that deal with a little bit of landfall. So, I feel like this would be one of those ones that people gravitate towards later on. Newer players. Finally, we're down to the last 3. Starting out with Nazar the Velvet Fang for 3 and a black. This is a 3/3 Vampire Warlock. And it has Menace. Whenever you gain life, put a feeding counter on Nazar the Velvet Fang. Whenever it attacks, you may remove 3 feeding counters from it. If you do, you draw 3 and then you lose 3. So if you're I don't feel like this would be great in for heading its own deck. I feel like this would be great in a deck. I feel like this would be better in the 99. And now I'm starting to see why these are like the bottom 3. But it does have menace, and it is a vampire, so you can throw it in like a veto deck and give it lifelink and give it, just gain life. And because each creature deals damage individually, you can just gain all that life whenever it attacks. Before you gain your life, you draw 3 and you lose 3, then you gain it right back. So I feel like this would go great in a Timna type deck too, because it doesn't matter as long as you gain the life. If you have 3 counters on him when he attacks, you can remove him, draw 3, then pay for Timna, lose 3 more to draw 3 more. Still pretty cool. And next we have Anep, the Vizier of Hazaret, for 2 and a red. This is a 4/2 Jackal Warrior with Trample. You may exert it as it attacks. When you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until your next turn, you may play those cards. I like the art. That's about it. The Jackal looks amazing. The utility of this seems like it'd be better in the 99, unfortunately. But, if somebody can brew a deck up and send it to me, I'll definitely look at it. And finally, we have Erdanen, Dromoka Warrior. Does not look like he should belong in Tarkir, but I feel like he was, shifted away somehow. But for 1 and a white, we get a 1/1 human warrior. When it enters, put a counter on target creature. White's already doing +1/+1 counters. Why not keep it going? Whenever you attack, target attacking creature with a +1/+1 counter on it gains first strike until end of turn. If that creature has 2 or more counters on it, it gains double strike. I feel like this would go great if you turn 1 planes, Esper Sentinel, turn 2 Erdanen, give it a +1 counter, swing with it, and then just keep going. This would be really good in like a Giada deck too, because then those creatures gain first strike. And the bigger creatures are going to have double strike. So that's pretty cool. But what do you guys think of these new legendary creatures coming into the game from Foundations? What are your thoughts on them? I'm kind of liking them. I'm liking some of the uniqueness of them. I really liking the simplicity of a lot of them. Because, the one where you make a jellyfish when they die, it's going to happen. Board wipes happen, removal happens. The exile and the foods. I mean, it's bringing all kinds of different mechanics all at once, but in a way, it's not too much all at once. I mean, like those first like 10 are like up there on power level, but I feel like the rest of them are like, something that, somebody will just see and just instantly fall in love with. But this video has gone on way too long. So, like I said in the beginning, like, comment, subscribe if you like this kind of content. But that's going to be it, and I'll see you guys next time in the graveyard.